Steve Adubato. This is Think Tank. We've been bringing in members of the congressional delegation in New Jersey, as well as our two United States senators, talk about national issues and their impact on the state. We have United States Congressman Tom Malinowski, the 7th Congressional District, which is where?
It is Short Hills, Westfield, Cranford.
You're not doing every town, right?
There's 75, I could.
Okay, what counties?
The suburban towns of Union County, and then go all the way west through Somerset County, Hunterdon County, Phillipsburg, and Warren County. It's one of the biggest districts by geographic area in New Jersey, mostly suburban, rural, diverse, interesting. Highly contested. Highly contested.
There's going to be an interesting race in 2020 that the congressman will be involved in. We'll have his Republican opponent on as well. But this is not a political show. I just said to the congressman, we do policy. We don't do politics. That being said, you came into this position of running in 2018 and getting elected. You served in federal government before.
Yes,
I did. What role?
I was an assistant secretary of state in the Obama administration in charge of our global human rights policies. Before that, I served in the Clinton administration. I was his chief foreign policy speechwriter, riding around with him all around the world, helping him speak for America.
Congressman, what's your greatest concern about the Trump administration's handling of intelligence, national security issues?
My greatest concern is that the president is using his powers to defend our country to protect himself. He's appointing loyalists who will implement his tweets rather than our national interests.
Doesn't he have that right as president?
He has the right to appoint whoever he wants, absolutely. But I have a right to be concerned about the fact that, for example, he fired his director of national intelligence for telling the Congress the truth about Russian interference.
Joe McGuire.
That's right. The president should be angry at Russia for interfering in our elections, not angry at his people for telling the Congress that that's happening.
How real is the Russia concern, or concern about Russia in 2020 and their involvement once again in presidential, if not congressional, Senate races? Go ahead.
It's very real. And, you know, we have a concern about hacking the election. And one of the good things we have done in the House of Representatives is increase the funding for states, including New Jersey, to secure our election machinery. But I'm also worried about Russians and others hacking our brains. It's the propaganda. It's the weaponization of social media to divide Americans against each other. And that's what we have to be vigilant against.
Before we talk about transportation, a huge issue, infrastructure, a huge issue in the New York, New Jersey region. Biggest lesson or takeaway from the impeachment hearings around the president, where the House voted to impeach and the Senate voted to acquit?
Well, I was struck in the end that a number of Republican senators said that the House proved its case. At the beginning, you remember they were saying, oh, there's no quid pro quo. Maybe he was just trying to fight corruption in Ukraine. In the end, senators like Lamar Alexander and others, Susan Collins, Marco Rubio, they said, yeah, you know what, he did it.
But only one voted to not acquit, and that was Mitt Romney.
Mitt Romney, yeah. And by the way, the last Republican to win my congressional district was Mitt Romney.
Is that right?
I think it's important. You know, Adam Schiff said something very important in one of his closing speeches. He said that one vote can be a majority. And I think Mitt Romney, being the first senator in American history to vote to convict a president of his party, very, very important. Most of the, you know, we're not talking too much about politics here, but I imagine
politics and policy connected.
Can they connect? There are a lot of Republicans in the Congress. There may be some Republicans running for Congress this year who I am 100% certain agree with Mitt Romney. They're just too cowardly to say so.
Do this 30 seconds or so on the transportation infrastructure issue. Is it an issue or multiple issues?
It's a huge issue. It's one issue that I hope we're going to be able to make progress on this year. We just unveiled a blueprint for a major national infrastructure bill in the House of Representatives. The Senate wants to do an infrastructure bill as well. My number one priority.
Mitch McConnell's on board here?
The Senate has been marking up a transportation bill. We have to, every 5 years, reauthorize our Surface Transportation Act. My number one priority, my number two priority, my number three priority is the Gateway project.
Explain to folks that keep hearing about Gateway. What is it? Why does it matter so much to our region?
Our region depends on transportation being linked to New York City, especially the train connection. The infrastructure between Newark and Penn Station, including the Hudson River Tunnel and the Portal Bridge, was built in 1910 during the presidency of William Howard Taft, it has very little life left in it. It's the major source of delays for our trains. Desperately needs to be replaced. Federal government is supposed to pay for half of it. Trump has said no. And we've been fighting that with some success over the last year.
Shift gears. By the way, we're talking to United States Congressman Tom Malinowski from the 7th Congressional District. Healthcare, huge issue. We've done many panels here on Think Tank. Check out our website. You'll see on the screen right now to see those conversations. The president and his administration doing what as it relates to the Affordable Care Act, A, and B, jump into pharmaceutical drug costs?
So the president and the administration are in court, in federal court, as we speak, trying to do what they failed to do in the Congress.
Is that the Texas case?
To repeal the Affordable Care Act, or to strike it down.
What does that have to do with Texas?
It's complicated, but Texas basically sued to strike down the Affordable Care Act.
Okay, so we go to the,
and the administration weighed in on behalf of Texas.
Court. What would the Supreme Court be deciding on? Whether it's constitutional or not?
They would be deciding on whether it's constitutional, because the Republican Congress already got rid of the individual mandate, which was the tax, so to speak, that was part of the Affordable Care Act. There was another Supreme Court decision which upheld.
I complicated things, not the Congress. I'm sorry about that. But what do New Jerseyans and the folks in the region need to know about what's going on right now?
The bottom line is the administration is trying to basically repeal through the courts the Affordable Care Act with no replacement. President Trump has said, I won't tell you what the replacement is unless you reelect me. That's incredibly irresponsible. The American people rejected that overwhelmingly in the 2018 midterm elections. We need to build upon and improve the Affordable Care Act. I think we can do that by adding a public option, giving every American the freedom to buy into a public system like Medicare. The Trump administration
wants to get rid of it. Are you for Medicare for all or Medicare for those who want it?
For those who want it. I think, look, Americans like freedom, Americans like choice. I don't want to take away people's private health insurance. I want a system where there's a public option competing with private health insurance.
Congressman Tom Malinowski with us right now. Fighting domestic terrorism, go.
2017, for whatever reason, the Trump administration eliminated virtually all of the funding at the Department of Homeland Security to fight domestic terrorism. And domestic terrorism right now is almost entirely white nationalism, white supremacy, neo-Nazi groups responsible for virtually 100% of the deadly terrorist attacks in the United States in the last 2 years. All that funding was cut. I led an effort in the House in the last several months to restore it. In the budget that we passed, President Trump signed, it was fully restored. That's one of the achievements I'm most proud of in my first year in office.
Hopefully we've been putting up the congressman's website so folks can find out more from his office about what he's involved in. United States Congressman Tom Malinowski from the 7th Congressional District. How many towns again?
75.
And how many counties?
We have 6.
Complex stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you, Congressman. Appreciate it. I'm Steve Adubato. This is Think Tank, and we'll be right back.
How do you create change? By cultivating hope. And we see that every day. In the eyes of our preschoolers, in the souls of the seniors in our Adult Day program, in the minds of the students at Robert Treat Academy, a national Blue Ribbon School of Excellence, in the passion of children in our Youth Leadership Development Program, in our commitment to connections at the Center for Autism, and in the heart of our community, the North Ward Center, creating opportunities for equity, education, and growth.
Also brought to you by Hackensack Meridian Health. Keep getting better. NJ Best, New Jersey's 529 College Savings Plan. NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology. And by New Jersey Resources.